Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another manga review. And today we're going to be taking a look at Eden Zero Volume 15 from Hiro Mashima, which is the continuation of the Foresta arc, which began at the end of Volume 13. And in the last volume, Volume 14, there was a lot of battles. We saw Shiki take on Orc, we saw Homura take on Mora, and then we saw Rebecca take on Brittany. And we learned about the new threat here of the Orational Sace Galactica, who's known as Poseidon Nero. And we also learned about his son, Poseidon Shura, who might be even more of a sadistic bastard because, he killed an innocent person just for the fun of it. And so there's a great threat there. We also learned that Elsie is on the planet because she's there working with Shiki to defeat Ziggy. And also Justice of the Interstellar Union Army is on the planet, and he's a member of the Orational Sace Interstellar, which is like the supposedly good version of the Orational Sace, and also a way for Mashima to continue to use that phrase that he loves so much because it's been in both Rave Master and Fairy Tail, as well as Eden Zero now. So, there's people on the planet here, Planet Foresta, dealing with the robots who have turned against the humans, and then Weiss and Hermit went into outer space to go to the command center to basically disable the evil command to turn the robots back to normal, to which they were confronted with this asshole, Dr. Muller, who we met back, I think, in Volume 4, when we first learned about Hermit and her backstory, how Hermit was working with him to help human and robot relations, but it turned out he was just using her to kill all the robots, which is kind of ironic because now he's like half human, half robot and wants to kill the humans. So all sorts of crazy stuff. And again, another great volume. I have to say, I haven't read many of the modern shonen series, but the three that I have read have been Eden Zero, Fire Force, and Black Clover. And I have to say, Eden Zero is easily the best of the modern shonen series that I've read, and I highly recommend it to anybody. I think you'll very much enjoy it. It's a great series, and I don't want to say that being dark necessarily makes it better, but it seems to get darker with each plot element and backstories and whatnot, and really hits home in this one, in particular with Dr. Muller, and you see on the cover with Clean as well, which we'll get to that. But let's get to this volume right here, and all sorts of good stuff. So it ended with Justice, along with Creed and Victory, members of the Interstellar Union Army, apprehending Homura. They captured her. We saw Creed used his ether gear, which basically shrunk Homura and put her into a little cage, and then Victory uses Titan's arm where he can grow really big, and Shiki's here battling Justice, which clearly Justice is more powerful. So he deems Shiki an enemy just because he's associated with Elsie, and Elsie is part of the Orational Sace Galactica, although Elsie is more or less, I guess, an anti-hero who's helping Shiki. I mean, she's a good guy, but she's Elsie Crimson, the space pirate. So just because she's a pirate, I guess she's a bad guy in his eyes. And also, you'll learn a little bit about his backstory and her backstory as we get through this. But he does this transformation. We've seen Justice. It's sort of a parallel to Jalal, as Elsie is a parallel to Urza, and with his ether gear, also known as Star Drain, the same that Elsie used in the last volume. He undergoes this transformation, and, because with the color cover in the last volume, you see that he has white hair. Here, he has blue hair, and his ether gear is right with his eye, similar to Jalal. And also, I gotta ask this, too, because obviously, Justice and Elsie, it's Jalal and Urza. And I do know in Rave Master there is Sighart, who also has blue hair and the marking on his eye. Is there another counterpart to Urza and Elsie in Rave Master? If you guys have read Rave Master, leave me a comment down below if there is. But, he's completely overwhelming him. Uses Jalal's attacks he shouts Meteor, and with his ether gear, whatnot, Meteor Frenzy, and is getting ready to use his ultimate move right here. 7 stars, pass your judgment, getting ready for Grand Chariot, which is, exactly what Jalal uses, and also what Elsie used in the last volume using her Star Drain magic. So, this bastard, Dr. Muller here, has Hermit held captive. You see with his, mechanical arms and whatnot, he's got her tied down, and it seems to be going into her body, infecting her with his virus, trying to corrupt her as well in the satellite station. And also, Weiss is here, and he's trying to take Muller down, but he can't because, he's holding Hermit hostage. So if he tries anything, he'll kill Hermit or cause her to, turn evil. And then he recognizes him. He's like, oh, you're Weiss Steiner, the brilliant professor, how are you here? And of course, refer back to Volume 1 or Volume 2 to learn about that. But this is the younger Weiss, and there is an older Professor Weiss who's like a genius. And Mower's thinking like, oh, I'm going to steal his brain. This will be excellent. Ha ha ha. So Justice is beating the ever-living hell out of Shiki here when all of a sudden Elsie comes to the rescue. Look at her go. What are you doing here, Elsie? You'll pay, Justice. God damn, dude. Look at Rebecca. Holy crap. Look at that angle, man. Wait a minute. What does 63 mean? Why is it 63? Does that mean anything? But anyway, she uses her Star Drain, similar to Urza's transformation, which you really saw in the last volume where she got her battle armor on. But they're doing battle, both evenly matched. And her two associates here, which she has more on this planet, but these two are on the ground. And they're looking for Homura on orders of the princess. And you see Creed here is a little sympathetic toward Homura. He's like, oh, she's so cute in there, his little pet. So he is ready to use his ether lock again to trap these other villains. And they pretty much everyone who's somewhat strong has ether gear. So this guy has ice, he has fire, and then Victory has Titan's arm. So they're all doing battle. And a lot of great booty shots of Elsie in her battle against Justice. And we learn that, his name is James Holloway. And, it's all your fault that the nation fell because of your treachery. So we learn that, the two of them are connected, their paths are connected. And like I said, with the booty shots, some great booty shots between the two of them. And, he's got this exposition where it's like, you betrayed us. And Elsie, I want to call her Urza. I lost everything. My parents, my siblings, my friends, my eyes. The entire, how would you say that? Kadi or Kaed Cosmos? How dare you do this? So, then as they're ready to strike each other, she jokes, do you remember the last time we were this close? And it cuts back to the two of them, Princess Elsie and Prince James. Like, oh, let's kiss Prince James. Ooh, look at them puckering up. Not yet, someday, right, James? And as they're getting ready to finish their battle, Elsie's like, shall we finish what we started? Are you serious? And they get ready they actually do have a smooch. But they both stab each other. Holy shit, dude. I'll kill you. Yes, it seems that is our fate. So, Shiki lying down, like all pathetic as the two of them are battling. Here's a clanking robot in the distance. Unleash your gravity. Gravity is the way to the heart. Your heart hasn't yet reached the abyss. And great page right here, the two of them. What are they, like Bond characters? So in outer space here, Clean has been having a complete meltdown since the battle, Mower showed himself. And they got to make their way back to the ship. So they say, all right, Laguna, you go make sure everything's okay with Weiss and Hermit. And Moscow, you just keep throwing your weight around out there. Moskoy. So you gotta love Moscow. Like, what is this fuck? How's he even out there? I know he's a robot, but still. So Mower is like, I will take your brain, boy. I'm going to use that powerful brain of yours, you brilliant scientist. But Weiss is like, oh, fuck you. And is able to use the Arsenal ether gear to save Hermit. And they got to stop this thing before all the robots completely destroy everything. And Mower's like, oh, we're going to put it to high speed. It's finished. The machines destroy everything. Because, yeah, at this point, the robots have just turned the humans into, like, their pets. And Mower flips the switch, and they're going completely berserk, and they start killing all the humans. And Rebecca's watching this with Pino and Happy, like, oh no, what are we going to do? And there's this poor little girl running around like, oh, we got to save that girl. Come on, Happy. Aye, sir. So Rebecca swoops in to save the little girl. Let's go. We got to get out of here. And this robot is here, and apparently he has gravity ether gear as well, and is like, listen, boy, I just made the pain lighter. You'll be fine. Come with me. So the two of them continue their struggle. They're both pretty evenly matched. And all these robots are coming out, at the hands of Mower. And they're also going after, I was going to call him Justice. We'll call him James now since we know his real name. But, they're attacking everyone. So they sort of have to team up together. And 7 stars, leave your mark. 7 stars, pass your judgment. Grand Chariot. And they sort of team up. And then this guy, the little robot guy, Magic Attack. Gravity center! Look how strong this guy is, dude. This little robot. Whoa! It's so powerful, even the Eden Zero out in space is shaking. But that frees Homura from her cage there. And, basically stops all the robots from killing all the humans. And Shiki asks, you said Magimech attack. That's my move. And he says, yes, the Magimech School of Gravity Martial Arts. I am its founder, Zenolith. I was Ziggy's mentor. Again, look at Homura there. Whew, God damn, those things get bigger or what? So Shiki's like, you're his mentor? You taught Ziggy? Oh my God. He loves it. So then he thinks back for a minute because he learned about Zenolith before. How is it? Zenolith or Xenolith? I'll say Zenolith. Sorry about that, but I don't know how to pronounce these things. Hermit was talking about him a while ago, and Shiki's like, yeah, Hermit said you died a while ago. And he's like, well, my human body did, but I still lived on as a robot. It's a ghost! And he's doing like all these ancient techniques, like, we must go. I will teach you more. Boy, let's go. So the two of them are getting their asses kicked when one of Elsie's friends shows up, Burman, and rescues her. And that's that. And then also rescues Homura. I'm back to normal. Who are you? We're with the princess. We're here to protect you. So then, out of nowhere, Rebecca shows up with Pino Happy and that little girl, like, come on, Homura, let's go. All right, well, you saved her, so our duty's done. We got to go back to save the princess. And this little girl wakes up and is like, oh, everyone got all weird and started attacking. I even lost Mimi, my friend. And Mimi, this little robot, actually died in the last volume. Shiki saw it die. And, they're like, oh, how do we break the news to this poor little girl? So they're racing away. And then James is like, how dare you get away from me, Elsie? We'll finish this some other time. So they make their way out. And then this one here, Holy, shows up. And is like, oh, I expect nothing less from the youngest member of the Oration Seis Galactica. She's also a member of the Oration Seis Interstellar. And is like, oh, what are you doing snooping around with your ex-girlfriend? So mocking James there. So Clean, like I said, is having this nervous breakdown ever since we've seen Dr. Muller enter the fold again. And Chris, help my sister, please, take her to the infirmary. And sister getting ready to help her out. And Weiss beating the shit out of Muller, but he's like, oh, this is so much fun. I can't wait to have your brain. I will take your brain, boy. And then he starts talking about his experiments. And he's like, I love doing the experiments. My best work was on those Rutherford siblings, Chris and Clean. And, Chris is an android, doesn't have human arms. And we learned that, he was the one who did that, this fucking Dr. Muller. And he said he made the sister watch as I dismantled her brother's body. The screams of pain, terror, agony. It was the greatest show in the cosmos. What a sick fuck, man. Holy crap. So Clean's in the infirmary here trying to get patched up. And Weiss here, this is like, you bastard. How dare you do that? It's all your fault he's a cyborg. Oh, I'm going to get my revenge, my sweet revenge. So yeah, that was actually after, he did his sick experiments years back, with Herman in the picture. He kidnapped this wealthy family, the Rutherford family, their children, and fucking experiment on them like the sick bastard he is. And it was actually, the Eden Zero crew that saved the day. It was a sister who rescued Clean way back when and stopped Muller as she was crying and just as she's reliving the horror here. You evil piece of filth! And he's like, oh, how can you be so powerful? It's my ether gear ability. So Zenolith is making his way to get Shiki out of here, and everyone's converging at the end. And this is Muller again pulling the strings, activating all these fucking laser beams from the planet from his space station. And then Weiss, cuts him in half, but it's still no match because he's a robot, I guess. So he can continue to use his plans. And, with his arms here, rips off the arsenal armor from Weiss. And then, as all this is going on, water in the distance, electrical shock, water? And it's Laguna to the rescue. Because, Witch said, Laguna, go out there and help them, okay? So Laguna's here to the rescue. And it's like, I don't need your help. Oh, really? Because you look like you did. So yeah, he's sort of reluctantly with them. You know, he was a bad guy at a certain point, but he's with them now and is sort of coming to odds. So, you know, they finally defeat him, and his head's standing there. And I love this scene here, too, with Hermit's face. Sorry, but Arsenal is the champion of justice. Out of the suit, I'm just, you're very cool. I love her face there. So as all this is going on, you know, the whole planet's about to explode. Some great action scenes going on. And as, you know, the planet's falling apart, you know, Rebecca's operating the motorcycle and Homer is just slicing everything down with her ether blades. So, you know, Hermit's trying to shut everything down. And this fucker, he's still alive. Hermit, please, I don't want to die. Help me, Hermit, you son of a bitch. How many people have begged you for their lives? No, this is different. You hurt Jin and Clean. I didn't kill them, did I? They're alive. And again, like, look at this poor girl, the torture that she endured at the hands of this bastard. And what happened actually was Sister wiped her memories of that. And, you know, it wasn't until now that they came back, because I guess they were so close to the vicinity. And this fucker is still begging for his life. And what happens is, you know, it seems as though she's going to forgive him. But she actually used him because she's trying to hack into this computer and was able to bypass everything, but needed one last thing, which is the retina scan from Dr. Muller, to which she used, and he just throws him away and punches him. So I love that. She got the last laugh there. Hermit stepping up, and look at Weiss's face. Some good stuff. And now she's like, I have friends now. So she deletes all the malware and the virus that was controlling all those robots, bringing them back to normal. And Shiki's like, oh, the robots are back to normal, huh? And Rebecca, so many lives are lost. Oh, no. So after that, Elsie's like, oh, I'm glad you guys are all right. You know, we had a treacherous battle out there. And she really does look like Urza there. Like, you know how Urza's in that armor sometimes where she has her boobs all wrapped up? So she's all there. All her associates there, all back to normal. And some good stuff. So we'll meet again. So after that, you know, Laguna wanders off, and he's like, you teamed up against him, but you didn't. I don't get you people. And as they're walking away, he says, how long are you going to be on the ship anyway? And Laguna, until I accomplish my goal. Until then, I'll just keep playing my part. The part of a man who has no goal. So then we get some stuff here with Couchpo and Moscow here, and he says, amore scoy, you know, because he's in love with Couchpo now, because they both love to eat. And she's like, oh, that boy loves to eat. Oh, I like you. So, I don't know, man. It just makes me chuckle. So, you know, Witch is consoling this poor girl here, like, oh, your friend Mimi, you know, we've lost people too. We just have to keep pressing on, you know. Cry enough tears so you can smile later, you know, and tries to give her words of wisdom. Says, you know, that we lost our friend Valkyrie a short time ago, and that's just part of life, young girl. And she takes off her helmet and gives her a hug, and it says, if it will help you to smile brighter later, then you may cry all you want now. And then Xenolith is here. They got him back, and Hermit's like, that can't be Master Xenolith. He's one of the heavenly knights of the dancing Sakura. Well, that's Master Xenolith. What do you mean that's Master Xenolith? And then all of a sudden, download complete. Yahoo! The Xeno Man is back! Look at his pose, man. I love it. So he's back to normal. He's like, what the hell are we doing here? And basically, he's like, all right, well, we're gonna teach you some abilities to prepare for your fight. Apprentice of Ziggy, this is something only you can do. So Weiss is walking to the medical room because he learned the whole tragic story of Chris and Clean just now. And, you know, Chris is here like, oh, is my sister going to be okay? And he learns that Dr. Muller was there. I'm going to kill that bastard. And Weiss says, we blew him to bits. And also, I know I've been kind of hard on you guys, but I guess you've been through a lot. How's Clean? See for yourself. Brother, I was sick for a very long time. My heart was shrouded in darkness. I couldn't show my emotions very well. But now the sun is out, and my heart feels good, like a gentle breeze. Oh, look at her smile. And then they say, oh, it's the first time I've seen her smile in so long. I'm so glad you pulled through. I'm glad to be back. Aw. So cute. And I like Weiss's moment here where he's like, because yeah, they've been kind of dicks to each other, but now they can put the past behind them as they've accomplished defeating their past and moving on. So back to the Interstellar Army. Creed, when he had Homer on his clutches, took a few pictures of her, and he's looking at pictures of her on his smartphone, and they're like, "What are you looking at that for, Creed?" "Oh, I'm just analyzing data on the crew of the Eden Zero." So, with all that, James is like, "Oh, we have to defeat Shiki, with the Orashon 6. What is going on?" And then, again, Holy shows up again and says, "Nero's top officials are ascended on the planet Nero 1, also known as the Temple. The oceans? Yes, and his twisted, deadbeat son, too. You should. He's a real threat. Nero is old. Once he dies, Shura will take over. We must destroy him once and for all and bring peace to the cosmos." And yeah, we learned about Shura. He killed an innocent, well, I think he killed 2 innocent women for nothing, just for fun. That sick bastard. So over here, and God, this Holy, look, all her angles there. I mean, she's pretty hot. There was another picture of her before where she had her boobs hanging out, but that's essentially every female character in this series, isn't it? So on planet Nero 1, otherwise known as the Temple, we see the ocean weeps. And here's member of the Orashon 6 Galactica, Emperor Poseidon Nero. Look at this guy. He's like some fish man. And we meet all the members of the Ocean 6 here as they've gathered for their roundtable. We meet Poseidon Shuro, Callum Steelford, Lyra, Nasei, Mirani Lucra, Saika, and Fabiano. He kind of does look like Fabio, a mustache, doesn't he? So he rolls his dice, and Shura is like, "What, are you going to leave our decision up to dice? What are you talking about, old man? These are my sacred dice." And then he draws all ones. And he says, "That is the fate I will obey. I will do nothing based on the dice." So with him leaving, that puts Shura in charge. And he says, "You better mean that. I am not so foolish as to defy the dice. What a foolish, stupid old man. Those ridiculous numbers." And we also meet Shura's secretary, Ijuna. And he starts squashing the dice like, "I'm going to squash Ziggy like a bug." Look at this sick bastard. So Xenolith here is like, "All right, we're gonna train everyone to get you ready for Ziggy and Shura and the oceans and all this nonsense." So that's the goal here, and really everyone's goal. Shiki wants to find Ziggy. Shura wants to kill Ziggy. Same with Elsie. She's sort of aligned with them. So all their paths are going to converge. And they gave that foreshadowing with Orc in the last volume where, all 3 gravity users could meet. Because, yes, Ziggy's a gravity user, Shura is a gravity user, and also, of course, Shiki, Ziggy, and Shura. And actually, Ziggy was the one who taught Shura way back when. And obviously, we learned the fact that, this isn't Nero's actual son. I mean, he's like a human, right? So as they're getting ready to make their moves here, he says that he can't take Reverend Saika. And he's like, "What do you mean? I'm weak. I'm the weaker one of the fighters, but I'm still part of the Ocean 6. And Shura grabs this guy's head and just fucking rips it off. I mean, what the hell is going on? And he's like, "What are you doing, my lord? Why are you killing this guy?" "We're about to fight the king of the robots. I don't need any robots on my side." So he just kills him. So they're doing their training in the VR simulation with Master Xenolith here, and everyone's I love everyone in their training gear here. As they all show up. Witch has her broom, and then even Clean's like, "I'm gonna train with you guys too." "Me too, I'm training." Look at her smiling. "Are you ready?" "Yeah." So, and then Shiki's like, "Oh, you're my new friend. Don't get any closer to her. She's a member of the crew, but she's not your friend." "Oh, she's my friend," and he smiles too. And Xenolith is like, "All right, we're going to begin our bondage training." And they're like, "Bondage training?" Really, by that, he means they're going to be bound by the rope, and not like that. But they're going to have to try to use their ether gear while being restrained. But Weiss and everyone else has got their mind in the gutter for good reason. I love how Rebecca has the cat ears on, too. But this is the bondage training. And basically, they're tied up. All right, react, as they're throwing rocks at them. So as all this happens, Xenolith appears to disappear and transform into Ziggy. What's happening, Grandpa? And it ends with a great cliffhanger. And then Mashima mentions in the afterword here that the Ocean 6, all those members there, were basically decided by fans. And one of the fans came out with the Dice Ether gear, right? But he already had that in mind for Poseidon Nero. So therefore he changed one of the users. I think he mentioned it was Lyra, where she uses like cards or something. Yeah, down here. And also mentions the fact that Xenolith was a character he planned from the start. And basically, the story of Mashima, he had Rave Master really planned out. Fairy Tail was just kind of a, winging it week to week. And this, he has like a whole goal in mind. But this was fucking awesome, man. Like, you had some dark stuff with Dr. Muller being, a psychopath, cutting off Chris's arms. Meeting this guy was pretty badass, Xenolith. And some great stuff, man. I loved it. So, yeah, can't wait to see what happens next. The next volume is releasing in April, I believe, volume 16. So, thank you all for watching. Like I said, this is my favorite next-gen shonen series. Of all the shonen series I've read, I've only read 3 of them. This one, Fire Force, and Black Clover. I mean, I know there's more, but of all the ones I've read, this is my absolute favorite. So, thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon.